Overwhelm is never helpful, I don't think, but it's also not helpful to be in a situation where you're making yourself bananas because of all the things you feel like you have to do. And if you make that switch, it will also help you get to a place where you can slow down a little bit. This episode is brought to you by my book, Get Your Stuff Done. Review what's inside and purchase it at izoldat.com/getyourstuffdone. Hello and welcome to the Creative Solutions Podcast. I'm your host, Izolda Trachtenberg. Whether you're writing the first sentence of a book or solving the climate crisis, to get people's attention, you need to tell your story creatively. On the show, I interview peak performers who are coming up with those creative stories and solutions. Through creativity, compassion, and collaboration, they're changing the world. I also bring you ideas and techniques to unlock your potential to do the same. And now, let's get to the show. Hello, and welcome to the Creative Solutions Podcast. I'm your host, Izolda Trachtenberg. Thank you so much for being here. Today, I want to talk about something that is a life changer for many of us when we do it. It certainly has changed the way I do things, and it's a very simple change, but it seems to make a difference in how I live my day, in how I live my life, and in how I do my work. And it is this. We're all faced with to-do lists. You have things you have to get done. You have to mark them done. And I personally love the check mark that goes, yeah, I got this done. And the check mark for the next thing. I love the little app Clear because it lets me check off everything I've done and it feels amazing. But here's the thing. Some of this is, these are the things I have to do and they set me on fire because the stress level skyrockets when I feel like I have a lot of things to do and I don't have the time, the energy, or the spoons to get them all done. You know what I'm talking about? I am sure you do, right? When you're feeling that crunch, when you're feeling like, holy crap, it's monumental. The amount of stuff I have to finish right now, today, is just making me bananas. How do you handle it? Well, if you know me, you know that the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stop and I'm going to breathe. I'm going to take 3 deep breaths to a count of 4, and it's going to be take a breath, 2, 3, 4, hold your breath, 2, 3, 4, exhale out, 2, 3, 4, hold your breath, 2, 3, 4, and do that 3 times, right? Just even those 3 breaths done that way will sort of chill you out. It will let the sympathetic nervous system go away for a bit and the parasympathetic nervous system come to the forefront. And it is interesting when we hear the sympathetic nervous system, we think, oh, sympathy. No. The sympathetic nervous system is actually the one that's aligned with the 3 F's, the fight, flight, or freeze. That's what the sympathetic nervous system does. So it's not a misnomer, but it's a little misleading, I would say. The parasympathetic nervous system is the one that goes, oh, okay, I'm chilled out, I'm relaxed, and I'm in a peaceful place. And you know what I heard from Dr. Matthew Walker the other day? He was doing an interview on Tim Ferriss's show, which is one of my favorite podcasts to listen to. And he said something that just blew me away. And I'm going off topic for just a second, but it's very important to me as an individual. And that is, he said that you cannot fall asleep if the sympathetic nervous system is awake, right? If it's the one at the forefront, you can't fall asleep. The organism will not relax enough to sleep if you are in if the sympathetic nervous system is in charge. So you need to let go of the sympathetic nervous system and sort of wake up and have the parasympathetic nervous system be at the forefront. Oh, that just killed me because I'm going, oh crap, am I going to get anxious about the fact that I'm in my sympathetic system instead of the parasympathetic? No. And so when I'm trying to fall asleep, that becomes a problem. But anyway, to get back to my original topic, why I'm talking about this is because that mind flip, not sympathetic to parasympathetic, but instead to de-stress so that you can get to the parasympathetic, A, stop and breathe first and foremost, and B, one of the things that you can do for yourself is change one word. Change one word and you will change everything. Instead of looking like at your to-do list like, I have to do this, I must. Instead, Think about it as I get to do this. And just try and reframe that for something you have to do. For me right now, I'm trying to work out how to love doing the dishes. My friend John Cooper has found the zen in that. He knows how to love doing the dishes. He's gotten into that place. And Thich Nhat Hanh talked about it. And I believe the miracle of mindfulness, that for him, doing the dishes, feeling the water running over his hands as he soaped up the plates, was a sacred task. And I'm not there yet. I'm working on it. But it is something that I am trying to do because I want to be present and in the moment all the time. But also, it's not just that. It's because it lets you enjoy everything more, right? If you're thinking of everything you're doing as a gift because you're getting to do it, everything changes, right? I think about it this way. I am alive. I am able. I am mobile. I have resources. I have my intelligence. I have the use of my hands and my legs. I have my heart and my lungs. And yeah, I can be grateful for all of that for sure. And that's part of my gratitude practice every morning. But being able to use all of those resources to get to do the things that are on my to-do list is a game changer. Think about that for a second. You get to be alive. You get to use your hands. You get to use your brain. You get to use your body. You get to use your spirit. You get to use your ingenuity and your creativity to accomplish the things you're trying to accomplish. Instead of having to do them, that it's a must, that it's a should, switch it around for yourself and start thinking of it as an I get to do this. And it will, maybe not today and maybe not even tomorrow, but over a little bit of time, you're going to start noticing that you're a lot more relaxed because each thing that you are doing becomes a gift. You get to do it rather than going, holy crap, I have so much to do. I'm starting to look at it all as, wow, there's so much I get to do today. I get to really enjoy the day and bring a lot of juice and sizzle into my day, into my life, into my work, because I get to do all of this amazing stuff. And yes, I'm going to say right now that doing the dishes is still not 100% there. I'm getting there though. I'm working on how to make doing the dishes something that is enjoyable for me, in that I get to do them. I get to have clean dishes. And that's another thing that you can do. You can look at the result. When I'm done with this, I will have this wonderful result. Clean dishes to eat from or off of, I guess, or on. I'm not sure what the right wording is there. I'll have clean dishes. And I'm trying to do the same thing with tax season. I will have my taxes done. So yay. But also getting to figure out and getting a handle on my taxes. And that's one of my goals for this year, is actually really developing a system and a process for how to do all of that, how to get the accounting and the bookkeeping in my life to a place where I actually enjoy doing it, because it's such a big part of our lives. And so many of us want to run away from it because it's a should, right? April 15th is coming and I have to get this done and blah, 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 blah. And the problem then, of course, becomes that we start dreading it and we start making it bigger and worse than it is. And if we start looking at it like, well, I get to do my taxes, and work your way back a little bit and go, not only do I get to do my taxes, but I earned money this year. And that's a beautiful thing, right? Because I was able to use that money for resources, for perhaps paying for a house or an apartment, or putting food on the table. Buying my cat's litter for me is a big one. All of those things we can sort of trace back to a place where we are pleased with where we are and what we're trying to achieve. And it takes that flip of I have to becoming I get to that allows all of this to happen. And again, the way to do that is, as soon as you start feeling that stress and that overwhelm, stop and do that breathing exercises that I talked to you about a few minutes ago. And then see if you can rephrase and reframe all of those I have to's into I get to's. And you can follow the logic back. I get to work. I get to earn money so that I can put food on the table. I get to drive my kids to school. I get to put my butt in my seat and write 500 words. I get to come up with a new email for my email list. I get to go work out so I can make my body strong. There are lots of I get tos, and they become a joyful expression of who you are and what you're doing instead of something where you're self-flagellating. It's not helpful to overwhelm is never helpful, I don't think, but it's also not helpful to be in a situation where you're making yourself bananas because of all the things you feel like you have to do. And if you make that switch, it will also help you get to a place where you can slow down a little bit, and that parasympathetic nervous system becomes the thing in play again. And then you can, from that more chilled out place, figure out what are those things. And I have a little sheet that I've created for you so that you can start doing this. And it's just a very simple, today I get to, and write down 3 things and maybe another 3 and another 3. And if you don't need the sheet. You can just grab a piece of paper and do it yourself, but I've made it all pretty for you. And yeah, just see how it feels to wake up in the morning, maybe do a little line of what you're grateful for, and then say, today I get to, and then write down the 3 things that you want to achieve, that you get to achieve today, and see how that feels. And I'm going to put like 3 sets of 3, because you know me, I always work in 9s or 3s if I can, because that's how our brains work, and see what you can do with the breathing exercise, with the transformation of I have to I get to, and also evaluate for yourself before you even start how you're feeling. If you're feeling overwhelmed, note that down, and it's going to be on the little sheet. And you can see, note that down, who you are, what you're doing right then. I'm feeling X, and then today I get to blah, blah, blah. And see by the end of the day, again, how you're feeling. See if switching that around helped you at all. And if it did, I would love to hear about it. I would love to know if it does, because it's helped me tremendously, and I would love to sort of see that it helped you too. Anyway, I hope that you enjoyed today's little get to episode. There are, again, a few things to remember. As soon as you're feeling overwhelmed, stop and do the breathing exercise. Then see if you can transform and transmogrify, if you will, the I have to's, all of the things I feel overwhelmed about, into I get to's. You can download the sheet and try it there, and you'll see how it feels as you make progress. And I think you will. I think you'll make progress every single day, because it's not our brains are not wired to be in stress mode all the time. They're wired to have periods of relaxation. And as Dr. Matt Walker said, we can't sleep without that parasympathetic nervous system being at the forefront. And if it is the sympathetic nervous system, and overwhelm is sympathetic, right? The fight, flight, or freeze. If it is that sympathetic nervous system, it's going to make it hard to relax. It's going to make it hard for you to chill out. It's certainly going to make it hard for you to create anything, because that kind of stress just makes, well, for most of us, for many of us, it makes our brains go blank. When you're really overwhelmed, all you can do ultimately is think about survival. You're not thinking about creativity and ingenuity and coming up with amazing solutions that are innovative and inspiring. Instead, you're going, okay, what's the fastest thing I can do to make this go away? And that's not helpful to you. It might be helpful in the short term, but it's not helpful in the long term, because most of the time, those kinds of fixes are short-term fixes. All right, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Until next time, this is Izolda Trachtenberg, as always, reminding you, oh yeah, I forgot to tell you that this week's show is brought to you by a couple of different things. First of all, it's brought to you by my book, Speak From Within, and also my book, Get Your Stuff Done. And if you're familiar with Get Your Stuff Done, you probably know that it is a book that is designed around that 3 threes and around gratitude and around dealing with the overwhelm, so that you can see what you need to do and want to do and get to do in a way that feels substantive and good and profoundly relaxing, instead of looking at it from a place of overwhelm and sympathetic nervous system. And also, of course, Brain FM, which I use daily to help me get all the things done that I want to get done. Until next time, I remind you, as always, to be bold, be creative, and most of all, be kind. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you being here. Please subscribe to the podcast if you're new, and it would mean the world to me if you told a friend about it. Today's episode was produced by Izolda Trachtenberg and is copyright 2023. As always, please remember this is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Past performance does not guarantee future results, although we can always hope. Until next time, keep living what you believe in.